Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria!
Here's Warner. Here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. Field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game. Cortez smacked to the left.
That is gone!
For Perez, that's my play. Off the backboard, counted, and a win! And a win! Ryan Perez wins the game!
What's going on, everyone? Coming to you live from Luke Freedom Motors in Brownsville, Texas. Another installment of Talking Sports again from Luke Freedom Motors. Ruben Rodriguez here with you. Rudy Zamriba Jr. on my right-hand side. It's December, so we're knee-deep in basketball season. We'll look about basketball season. We'll look at some of the tournaments we've had, what to expect next week, coverage and tournaments, and also talk about ETB basketball, too. Rudy, how's it going?
Going good, Ruben. Happy to be here and happy to be on the show.
Yeah, we hope you're staying warm wherever you're watching. It's going to be really, really cold. In fact, we'll talk more about it as the day goes on, but we had some games from Friday that are being pushed up to Thursday because of that cold weather coming in. I know basketball's indoors, but expected to be freezing rain to keep these teams from not traveling in that harsh conditions. We'll look more about that. We'll also talk about some games we had last night. Rudy, I know you had not one, but two games. You had a buzzer beater earlier in the Economedes in San Polito.
It was a good game. The Econ game, San Polito was basically down the whole game and just fighting back to get in it. Took the lead. Back and forth, and then at the horn, he laid it up. It was a good game. You expect that. San Polito trying to schedule 5As, 6As before district play to get ready for district play, and I think that was a good matchup for them.
Yeah, well, Economedes is a team that's had some troubles in recent years, but this year they found the groove. They've had some good appearances at the Seaville tournament. I know they played at the Hidalgo tournament, too. They've had some good moves, and San Polito is not an easy team to beat, especially I know that's a team that's in the rebuilding phase as well.
Especially in San Polito. It's tough to play there. But a first-year coach, De La Garza, first year there. His son got player of the game, so it was a fun game to do and see. First time seeing Econ on the broadcast.
Economy is a game to look out for, and San Polito again. You mentioned earlier, it's not an easy place to play there. When it's a basketball game, it packs in there and it gets packed and it's really loud. It's maybe a small school, but it packs a punch crowd-wise. We had another matchup in already 1-5 in McCown Memorial and Sharyland Pioneer, and Pioneer getting a win 47-44. Also had some other games here with Harlingen High taking on Laredo United South. United South picking up the win 72-48. On the girls' side of things, we have some more scores here. And just what is some things that stood out to you last night, Rudy?
United South, the way they shared the ball against that Harlingen team and just really moved the ball pretty well and able to space the floor and find shooters, and that was too much for Harlingen to handle, and that was pretty impressive to see a Harlingen team to lose by 20 points.
Yeah, Laredo United South, the team who missed the playoffs last year in 36, they missed it by one game, and this year it's been rebuilding for them. They're now 17-6 on the season. Jose Theo had himself a night, 18 points. He put up 9 points in the third quarter alone. And talk about this team. They really broke it open in that third quarter. 6 3-pointers made by Laredo United South. It was 3 of them by Theo, 2 of them by Laura, and then 1 made by Hector Murillo. And this Laredo United squad, they just spread it evenly. It was also Emilio Ceballos getting in the mix with 12 points. We also had Rodrigo Lara put up 9 points. Matthew Maldonado also got with a huge 3 in the fourth quarter. And Harlingen High, the game started off on a 7-0 run by United South. Harlingen High called one timeout, and that's all it took for them to tie it up. Now I know United South just broke it open off scoring by Ceballos. He had himself a 6-point second quarter, but Ryan Sanchez tried to carry the load here for Harlingen High, finishing off with 12 points. Fun fact, he finished off with his 1,000th career point. We've been seeing that a lot often so far in these past couple days.
That's just a testament to how hard these kids are working and how much time they're putting into the gym, and it shows on the offensive end for these kids. Multiple kids getting 1,000 points this week.
Earlier Marco Coelho, he didn't get 1,000. He celebrated his 2,000 career points. That's not something you hear every day. And then Coelho, a very high caliber player out of Bronzeville Lopez. Tip of the hat to him.
Again, offensive end, he can just score with just about anyone. And we saw him play in the San Polito tournament and did a good job of putting the ball in the hoop.
I know last year we had that matchup in the San Polito tournament. Lopez was playing in it. They lost in that semifinal matchup last year, but Coelho put up 45 points in one game. And it shows how much he's done so far for Bronzo Lopez. And Lopez is a team you got to look out for. We'll talk more about them in a few moments. I know we have some games coming up. Harlingen South, another team in the mix.
They got a tough win a couple weeks ago, I believe, against Pace at home. They were scrape by and get a win over the Vikings.
Well, that was just a back-and-forth battle. And, folks, a lot of people were saying that Bronzo Pace is a team that was going to be struggling early on because they lost their fabulous four. They lost Guajardo, Fortinelli, Agado, Delgado, and a lot in Burial. So actually fabulous five make that. But this is the Pace team that's held their own. They have Tyler Rutter coming back, Ricky Tijerina.
A lot of pride in that Pace team. District champions. They went back-to-back, and they're not going to want to give up their title that easy.
Right now, we look at the 32 5A district standings. Harlingen South 3-0 on the season. Bronzo Pace ranked third at 2-1. But South and Westaco East, those are the two teams who are currently tied for first. They'll face off down the road. Harlingen South will take on Bronzo Porters in fourth at 2-1. We also have Mercedes in 2-1. So a lot of teams tied up there.
You look at that district; it's really 5-6 teams maybe in the running for first place, and just a game back. Mercedes in fifth, and they're 2-1 on the district season. So.
Harlingen South, they'll be in action against Bronzo Porter tomorrow. The current fourth spot right now in 32 5A. But looking at the 31 5A, we had some matchups last night, of course. At Emerville, talk about them. 3-0 on the season. Pioneer 3-0. McCown Memorial 2-1 and McCown Row 2-1. Just a very back and forth start.
Still early and still a tight district.
Okay, we'll also talk some more games. We also had St. Joseph, the girls taking on Mission. Mission pulling off that win last night. Very close matchup there.
Defensive matchup. And saw the final score. It's a low-scoring game.
And so if you weren't able to tune into some of our matchup yesterday on the app, these are our final scores. Marion United South knocked off Harlingen 72-48. Shareland Pioneer knocks off McCown Memorial 47-44. Econ Medes beats San Perlita 66-65. Of course, that buzzer beater win Rudy talked about earlier. Santa Rosa 89-55 in the district matchup over Lyford.
Jordan Del Luna for Lyford had a game-high 31. So he was carrying the load offensively for the Bulldogs. It's just Warriors were a little too much in the second half. They were able to pull away. Nate Garza with 25, and it was just Warriors able to spread the floor in that second half to pull away. So
yeah, that Lyford Ball Club is certainly turning things around themselves. We also had some soccer in the mix. We had Jubilee and St. Joe tie up 4-4.
That was an exciting game. Yeah, 8 goals combined.
Yeah, I was watching some of it while getting ready for the Harlingen game last night. It was 4-2 the score before I got set to go for the Harlingen broadcast last night. Then out of nowhere, you see it's 4-4. I see they tied it. Wow, there's not much time left. So St. Joe, good team, of course. They're state ranked. They're state ranked number 6, if I'm not mistaken. They went all the way to Elite 8 last year in TAPS.
High expectations over there for that team.
Also on the girls' side of things, of course, Mission getting past St. Joseph 35-27 and 51-39. So right now, a lot of these districts are already, specifically the 5As and the 3As, are already hitting district play. But the 6As still have a couple games to go. Harlingen, again, they in the rebuilding phase. Still, they need 3 more games, so they begin 32 6A play.
Well, for the girls' side, Harlingen has a tough district, and Westlaco in that district. And both teams, Westlaco and Harlingen, scheduling some tough opponents pre-district season. Same thing with San Benito. San Benito looking good on the girls' side. We saw them in the tournament a couple weeks ago.
And a very tough team in there.
Los Fresnos,
yeah,
on the girls' side also.
Lady Falcons, a very tough team. They're coming off a win streak. They got a big win against Corpus Christi Carroll, 52-33 on Monday night. I was looking over it because I was working on an article for the Los Fresnos News, and I saw that it was a low-scoring game, and it's the 22-point fourth quarter is what propelled Los Fresnos over it.
When you have a score box like that, testament to the defense, playing full-court defense and pressing.
And that's a team with a lot of weapons, too. Again, that's a team
we saw Los Fresnos play. I think they won the Brownsville tournament.
They finished off the gold bracket champions of the BISD tournament.
They defeated Harvest Christian, and that's a good team also on the girls' side in the private school division.
Harvest Christian Academy, folks. If you haven't heard about them, pay attention to them. You'll hear about them a lot as the year goes on. They've already knocked off some big opponents. They won the Lyford Holiday Tournament. They won that last year. They came back and defeated La Feria this year to win and defend their title. And that's a Harvest Christian squad who does their own. They have a lot of weapons. Ashley Gonzalez, Lexi Gonzalez, Lexi Garza, she hit her 1,000th career point also as well. And this Harvest Christian team led by head coach Jaime Gonzalez, this team just continues to build and turn heads because they've knocked off some high-quality opponents. But going back to the Los Fresnos squad, this is a team who's not really rebuilding. They lost 2 players in Gabby Garrido and Shiloh Jones, but they brought back, they brought back a lot of weapons to the table. They brought back Maritza Ortega, Aline Ortega, Olivia Pata.
Watching their offense play, It's fundamental basketball, and they run a half-court set. They're able to set up on offense and not just get up and down, and that's something new from that team we've seen this year. It's the ability to score on a half court, and they've done a good job at it this season, in the early going of the season.
And Los Fresnos, they've had themselves a strong season non-district, 18-5. Currently, look at some of the teams they've beaten. Their only losses came to a couple teams. I know they knocked off San Antonio Lee. They beat Eagle Pass Swin. They lost to San Antonio Sotomayor. They beat St. Joe. But so far, they're about to start. They're close to starting up district play. They'll have PSJ High, Port Isabel, and La Jolla before they kick off district play January 6th. And 32-60, the girls will all be beginning district play on January 6th. For Los Fresnos, they'll have Rivera, Wesco, and Hanna before they get into the nitty-gritty district. We'll talk more about that as the show goes on. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more after this on Talkin Sports from Luke Freer Motors here in Bronzeville.
Plan your escape. Beach, bay, or both. Sunrises and sunsets daily. Memories made all day. Live music and great food round out your visit. So why wait? SoPadre.com.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhound Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live!
Baby, just listen to me.
Escucha.
Do everything with speed.
Prontísimo.
Out of home business service.
Flexible.
Insurance for all your
Barato.
needs. You say you just got a new boat. Come on by and we'll give you a free quote.
Prontísimo.
Okay, who's singing near you? Hello?
Accesible.
Come on.
Ask your agent how you can start saving with Pronto. Best price in town.
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, variadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
Our service is unmatched. Our commitment to our team and our community, relentless. Our products are innovative and exciting. Fruya, we're what's next now.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhound Cheerleaders, and you're watching Real Sports Live!
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Castillo. I invite you to visit San Benito and see for yourself the many things this community has to offer. Our offices of economic development offer a variety of business resources to developers, investors, and business owners from small to large scale. Contact us and let us work together on your next business opportunity.
Sunny days or starry nights. Lay back or splash down. Brunch, lunch, or late night munch. That's as hard as it gets at South Padre Island. Voted Texas Travel Awards Destination of the Year. Plan your escape at SoPadre.com.
We're the St. Joe Bloodhounds, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
We're Brownsville Porter, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Ibanez Tortilleria, serving up freshly made in-house corn and flour tortillas since 1994. Try our delicious menudo, tasty barbacoa, fresh tamales, tacos, variadas with juicy grilled chicken, and tender fajitas. On Mondays, buy one barbacoa taco and get one free if you mention that you're a Bloodhound fan. Located at 4726 Paredes Line Road, Brownsville, Texas. Open every day at 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. To order, contact 956-541-9594.
We're the San Fernando Lady Trojans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Our service is unmatched. Our commitment to our team and our community, relentless. Our products are innovative and exciting. Fruya, we're what's next now.
Welcome back here to Talkin Sports, more like talking basketball here from Luke Free Motors for your Cadillac Buick GMC, the official auto dealer of Real Sports Live. Rudy Zamruba Jr., Ruben Rodriguez here with you now. We're digging up the 5As and 6As. Let's look at the 3As on 32-3A and talk about the Progresso Red Ants 4-0 at the top of 32-3A.
Well, it's a team, I saw them play in the summer last few years, and it looked like they're getting the pieces together, and now they're 4-0 in district play, and really under the radar as far as like being on top of that rankings. And they took down Lyford, convincing win, and I think it was 60-32. They beat Lyford, so Lyford's 1-2 in that district. Redondo 2-1, and of course Santa Rosa and Progresso on top at 4-0 in the district. So it's going to be a big game for both teams tomorrow. And Progresso, again, the Red Ants, a couple seniors coming back on that team, and players that just know how to play basketball, and they know how to play defense and not be too fast on the defensive end, knows how to have a player come to them instead of trying to force the issue on defense. So a smart team, an experienced team, and it should be a good one in Progresso tomorrow night.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, Rudy, this is Progresso. This is a team that it's taking time for them to build. And they say that's the old saying, folks, Rome wasn't built in a day. And that's the case for Progresso. They've had some struggling years in the past couple years. Now it's starting to gel together 4-0. They've knocked off Lyford 64-28 in district. And they went off and knocked off Idea Riverview 68-35. Idea Sports Park 74-44. Monte Alto 62-30. They'll have a test with Santa Rosa, the Warriors, a team who's also 3-0, who got that big win last night against Lyford, but Lyford's also a team you can't look out for. You can look out for because the season's still young in district. If you look at it, look at the standings here in 32-3A. Progresso on top, Santa Rosa in second, Rio Hondo 2-1, and Lyford at 1-2. And Rio Hondo, their first season in 3A. Of course, last year they were in that tough district 32-4A that had Raymondville, that had La Feria, Port Isabel, very tough district there in 32-4A. But Rio Hondo, they're starting to get the pieces here in this district.
Yeah, well, getting back to Santa Rosa Progresso tomorrow night, it's going to be which team can spread the floor and hit shots on the kickouts, and both teams like to shoot the three ball. So I think it would be a good matchup tomorrow. Lyford right now in the 4 spot. It's really a battle for that 4 spot between them and Redondo, and also Ideal Wesco Pike in there trying to get the 4th spot as district goes on. So it's a tight district, and it's exciting that 3A is that competitive this year.
Yeah, you'll see also Progresso's 4-0, Santa Rosa's 3-0, because Progresso's only played 4 games because it's an uneven district. You're looking at 7 teams in that district, so it's going to be, okay, someone has to start off first before everyone else does in a sense, and that's why you see Progresso at 4-0, Santa Rosa 3-0, Rio Hondo 2-1, Lyford 1-2. And then we were talking also about the girls' side of things. We didn't touch on it too, but Bronzo Vets, the girls, they're 5-0.
Oh, they're always a solid team. They got Espinoza and Torres coming back as seniors, and they do a good job at the 1 and 2 guard, able to space the floor and handle the ball when they're getting pressed, and that's always a good thing to have if you're a coach. 2 experienced guards at the 1 and 2.
Right behind them, we have Harlingen South at 4-1. The Lady Hawks, that's a team who took a big hit. They lost a lot of players last year, and then earlier in the practice, I spoke with Coach Littleton. She said, hey, it's not rebuilding but reloading in a sense, and that's the case so far. The only loss came to Ed Cal Chelsea or Mercedes or Bronzo Vets. Bronzo Vets was their only loss, and I know you got to call that game. That was the district opener for them.
Well, going into that matchup, Harlingen South tried to slow it down and really not look to get up and down, but the defense from veterans, it was too much, and they were able to get steals out of that half-court set.
But look at that, Bronzo Vets 5-0. That's a team who won district last year, and they're well favored to win district again here in 32-5. And also, this is a longer district too. Of course, Harlingen South and Don North last year who went 6A.
Ed Couch, turning things around, and they're looking to make the playoffs this year in that district as well. And we saw them play at the San Polito tournament. So they're a team that can score with just about anyone.
Yeah, Lady Jackets are another example of putting the pieces together. They've had struggling years these past couple years, and now they've emerged. Here they are in the third seed at 2-2. Talk about the Lopez girls, too. They're in the mix, fighting for that third spot. And west to go east, of course, on 1-1. We have Mercedes, Pace, Donna, Porter, and Donna North.
Bottom, I'll say the last two teams that make that district, in 3 and 4, it's going to be tough because it's just so crammed. Everyone's tied from, third to fifth, sixth. Everyone's tied, 2-2 record.
Yeah, Mercedes and Pace also trying to get in those playoff spots. Of course, Mercedes, a team who just missed the girls' postseason by a couple games. They were shut down. I believe it was by Bronzo Pace, who won those last key games. Pace knocked off West to go east, and they knocked off Mercedes to sneak in at the 4th seed in 32-5-8 last year. And we switched over to the other girls' district. Talk about 5-8, District 31, 5-8. And Amberg Vela on top of the throne there, 5-0, led by the Emma Lucio show, who's had herself a season so far.
Again, that's just an experienced group, a confident bunch in that Vela team, and a well-rounded set they run on offense, and with Coleman just coming into her own this year and able to be strong, got a little more muscle on her this year, and she's shown that on the court, able to post up smaller guards and get what she wants in the paint.
And Coleman, a key player, Emma Lucio there. We also Gigi Betancourt, also one of the young pieces there for that team.
Another player that can shoot.
Ava Tawad, Faye Vasquez. That's just a Lady Sabercat squad. They're on a mission to capture district, and they won it in 6A. They said, hey, we're not in 6A, we'll win it in 5A. How about that? But it's a tough road ahead. They got McCowan Rowe, led by Lisa Yebra. She's a powerhouse in that team for the Rowe Lady Warriors. Also looking at Sharyland at 3-1, McCown Memorial 3-2, and look at that. McCown Memorial and Mac High at 3-2, both fighting for that 4th spot. It's going to be interesting how things roll down the wire later on.
It's going to be a good match when those two schools play each other.
I believe they already played each other, if I'm not mistaken. I know they opened up district with each other. I can go ahead and pull up the schedule on here and see it, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they opened up district. It was a couple days ago. It was December 13th, 49-31. Memorial got the win over Mac High.
Look at the box score there and see. Have the box score. No, they don't have it. Yeah, it looks like they pulled away in the second half in that score.
This is a Mac High squad. These girls can play. Once they heat up, they heat up. But Cal Memorial, unfortunately,
Memorial's always an up and down team. They look to get up and down and get turnovers off a full court press.
Yeah, Lady Mustangs, a team you can look out for. They're a favorite also to pull off of that district, but. You know, all eyes are looking on Amberg Vela if you want to try to get to the top of the throne in 31-5A.
Also, we had at the Island, UTRGV was in action. Were you able to get over there? And
yeah, I was actually able to go over on Sunday before I came down with a cold a couple days ago. I know I saw UTRGV. They pulled off the win against Houston Christensen. And that team, folks, if you haven't been keeping up with UTRGV basketball, I suggest you should. They're currently sitting in the season at 8-4. And get this, they're undefeated. They're 8-4. But they're 7-0 in the Valley. They have not lost the Fieldhouse. They have not lost 2 games at Bird Arena.
Conference play coming up. Seattle U season opener for conference plays. At the house, going to be a tough one.
Yeah, they have a 2-game win streak, and they came off that win against Houston Christian on Sunday night, 100-80. And you have Utah Tech on December 29th, and then on New Year's Eve they'll take on Southern Utah. And they'll come back to the Fieldhouse January 5th against Seattle U.
That's a team coach. Expecting greatness from them, expecting them to be perfect, and he's really pushing them to be more rounded overall in defense and offense. But you know, it's not always about offense. He's preaching the defensive end, and it looks like they're starting to get it with this 2-game win streak.
Yeah, this UTRGV squad, it's just a very, very, very well-rounded team.
Coach Yebra, Louis Yebra's on the team, and he scored his first points a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we got to see that. I know we were there. Was when they were playing against a Southwest Christian, I'm mistaken. Louis Yebra came in, and he had himself, 4 points, I believe, not wrong?
It was 5, yeah. First collegiate points. That's a big deal for him. And
of course, Yebra, a very talented player. McCown Rowan looking to take his talent to UTRGV. But again, we look at UTRGV. This team is loaded, folks. Justin Johnson, who averages 21.1 points a game. Will Johnson from down under out of Australia, putting up 16 points a game on average. Neem Isidore, 10 points. Aaron Freeman, 9.2. This UTRGV team is looking very strong. Again, 8-4 in non-conference. You have 2 more games, but then it's going to begin WAC play on January 5th against Seattle U. And Seattle U is a tough team to look out for in WAC.
I know the girls had a doubleheader at the Island also?
Yeah, the girls, they played over also, like, it was the Bowling, they played Bowling Green, and they played against Boise State. I know they got the win against Bowling Green on Monday night. I was actually tuned into that one. I was bedridden in the sense, but it was a very good game for each other to be. The girls are a very team to look out for.
Some big opponents coming down to the island, D1 opponents like that with Bowling Green and Boise State, and just shows their ability to get schools to come down. It's an honor to have those teams come down to the Valley and see it in our backyard.
And Boise State out of the Mountain West Conference, and then Bowling Green also a team, another good team in Division I. They've had some runs in the NCAA tournament as of recently, and I know they fell to Bowling Green in the but it wasn't easy because Bowling Green gave them a fight, and UTRGV gave them a fight back. It's just a matter of who pulled away in the final stages of the fourth quarter, and of course it was Bowling Green who got the win. We'll take a quick break and talk more about what's going on here at Luke Freya after this.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We're the Jubilee Titans, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Castillo. I invite you to visit San Benito and see for yourself the many things this community has to offer. Our offices of economic development offer a variety of business resources to developers, investors, and business owners from small to large scale. Contact us and let us work together on your next business opportunity.
We are Arlington Cardinal Basketball, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Hello from Los Fresnos CISD, an A-rated Texas Education Agency district. A stands for Academic Excellence at Los Fresnos CISD, where pathways to secondary success are being built for students at the brand new Resaca Middle School campus. A stands for Academic Advancement at Los Fresnos High School, where the College Center provides a jump start on college and career readiness that includes advanced placement classes, dual enrollment options, CTE opportunities, and scholarship money. Los Fresnos CISD, an A-rated and 7-time post-secondary readiness distinction district.
We are Edinburgh Bella, and you're watching Real Sports Live. Vizo!
At Harlingen CISD, college, career, community ready is more than just a saying. We've created 12 academies to provide students with access to fields of study that best fit their interests and passions. Within the 12 academies, there are 42 certifications that will aid students in getting a head start on a career upon graduation. Become HCISD proud and enroll today.
We are the Pace Vikings, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Graduation time. Time to make some decisions. What's next? Can I afford to continue my education? What are my options? At Brownsville ISD Career and Technical Education, you can graduate from high school with a certificate and/or license ready to go to work, debt-free. We have a wide range of programs for every student ranging from audiovisual, law enforcement, STEM robotics, electrical, welding, pharmacy, patient care tech, and many more to choose from. That's why Brownsville ISD is the best choice.
We're Edinburgh High Basketball, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
For quality care, contact Mesquite Home Health and Attendant Services today. In Brownsville at 594 Jose Marti Boulevard. Call today, 956-361-5558.
We here at Mesquite want to wish all local athletes good luck in today's game.
We're and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Music lovers, you have to stop and see the assortment of records, tapes, and records memorabilia at Forever Memories today. Located at 237 North Sam Houston in San Benito, Texas, there's over 10,000 records on display and more coming every day. Looking for your favorite album from the past, first pressings, collectibles. How about a 45 with a single you just have to have? Freddie Fender, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Elvis, Beatles, blues, rock, classics, Tejano, it's all here. Organized and priced for you. Forever Memories, 237 North Sam Houston, San Benito.
We're the MMA Leathernecks, and you're watching Real Sports Live.
Take a ride or ride a wave, build a castle or visit a castle, morning stroll or nighttime roll. That's as hard as it gets at South Padre Island. Voted Texas Travel Awards Destination of the Year. Plan your escape at sopadre.com.
Back here to Talkin Sports from Luke Freya Motors in Brownsville, Freya Cadillac Buick GMC. Guys, it's the holiday season. Need a last second gift. Why don't y'all come on down to Luke Freya? We know some couple of deals. We're trying to get someone to come on, but everyone's busy sorting out those holiday deals. And if you're looking for a brand new car, Luke Freya Motors here in Brownsville. Cadillac Buick GMC, the place to go. Looking for a new car, a new truck, or a new SUV, come on down.
They got a used car lot over here in front of us. And if you want a new car, come to the used dealership right next door. It's their own building, and some nice trucks out there if you want a truck, and some new vehicles that just came in. It looks like they got a bunch of new cars in the lot. So
it's not the awesome thing is too. It's not just. We also have some Chevys out there. We have some Fords. I saw a Toyota Tacoma. So, Mom, Dad, you didn't know what you wanted to get me for the holidays. There's a I think it looks like a 2020 Toyota Tacoma out there. My name on it, possibly. Just any ideas if you want.
Good luck with that.
I doubt I'm going to get it. But anyways, nah, guys. But yeah, Luke Freya has the best prices in town here in Brownsville. Freya, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Not just the prices. It's how they treat you and how nice they are to their customers that come here and buy vehicles from them.
Yeah, it's the service too. Like they give you these deals. They help you out. Like they give you a helping hand.
They pick up your car at your job and they do the oil change for you and they take it back. So
they do that, really?
Yeah.
That's a pretty sweet deal. If that doesn't tell you come on down to Luke Freya enough, I don't know what's gonna tell you. And it's been a very very lengthy show here. Coming again from Freya Cadillac GMC again, folks. Had some basketball games coming up. I know we have Harlingen South and Brownsville Ward. That's going to be a doubleheader tomorrow. Again, some of those games were scheduled for Friday, but due to the oncoming weather. So, again, folks, y'all better stay warm because we're expecting temperatures to drop below 20 and freezing. So, if you have your pets, of course, bring them indoors. But that's why they're moving the games from Friday to Thursday because they don't want
there's two more games being moved to Thursday?
2 more games. I know it was only, if I'm not mistaken, I know it was Harlingen South and Porter who were the only 2 games scheduled for that Friday slate, if I'm not mistaken, and then they moved them to Thursday because it's expecting to freeze over, and they don't want those students to be traveling in that nasty weather. Because, folks, and if you don't have to be traveling, don't be traveling. Just stay warm. I know myself, I'm gonna try to stay warm. I'm gonna be out of town, but still, it's gonna be a very, very cold time. But again, we'll have some basketball going on. I know we have a matchup. We also have some tournaments coming up next week after Christmas.
West Oso, going to be at West Oso next week, and boys and girls action over there.
The West Oso tournament, always a very competitive tournament. San Perlita goes up there and plays up there. They represent the Valley. A couple teams in the Valley. Some teams like 6A's won't be able to go because you'll still have them going into district play. I know another non-district matchup I have my eye out for is Harlingen taking on Corpus Christi Miller. The Miller Bucks, if I'm not mistaken, they will be in that West Oso tournament, if I'm not mistaken. But that West Oso tournament's always just like the last big hurrah for tournaments before district play begins.
You have schools coming down from San Antonio also, and it should be a good matchup for a lot of schools coming up from the Valley to see some schools that they won't traditionally see down here in the Valley. It's schools that are more athletic and ability to get up and down a little quicker.
Yeah, you get a mix of everything. You're going to get a mix of the Upper Valley, the Lower Valley, the Coastal Man. You have a couple Laredo teams who also may make the trip over here, and then you mentioned earlier the San Antonio team. So you see different play styles, different types of game plays here from teams across the South Texas here at the West Oso tournament. I know I'm excited for that one.
And then more tournaments coming up after that also in the Corpus area. Kingsville at the Domes, they'll have a tournament on the girls' side as well. We'll try to get some coverage for that tournament also next week.
Kingsville Brahma Classic, another post-Christmas tournament. And we mentioned, too, these are like the last 2 tournaments before we kick off district play officially. Because I know there's some teams who are still trying to wind down district play. And
CC Vets, always a good team up there in the girls' side.
CC Vets, they were state ranked at one point.
Last year they were really good, yeah.
Bishop Lady Badgers last year were really good, too. And you look at the 3As up north. I know we have the 4As up north. We have Bishop. We also
Bishop's actually ranked in the state, boys and girls.
Oh, they're both ranked too?
On the TABC rankings. So Bishop, I think they're ranked in the high teens, like 18, 19, something like that. So.
Yeah, Bishop Badgers putting Region 4 in the MAC. Another team to look out for on the boys' side, Santa Gertrudis, the Lions, Caden McClure. He's one of the more efficient lights-out shooters in South Texas, and he can shoot from different zip codes. We saw him at the C of L, and it was that big matchup against
He's a player
Miller
that you can see.
Yeah.
He shot a lot growing up, so you see him get to a spot, 15-foot shot, 16-foot shot. It's automatic because he shoots so much in the off-season that it's just, muscle memory at that point, and it's just an exciting player to watch, and it was an honor to see him play down here in the Valley at the C-Val.
I know they played against Corpus Christi Miller and what a lot of people thought should have been the championship game because how back and forth that battle was, but it was Miller who pulled away, and Miller ultimately won that matchup. And talk about the Miller Bucks. I know Joe Gomez is probably watching and saying batting the Bucks as he does, but then that Corpus Christi Miller squad is a team that they lost in the regional tournament.
You talk about experience. You talk about experience. That's a team with experience. Some of those players have been on the team since their freshman year, so 4-year lettermans and that's something you really can't coach, experience. It just has to build over time, and you got, I think it's 3-4 seniors leading the way there on the starting lineup. So
two of those stick out. Lonnie Adkism, Amari Listener. Those 2 players can.
Lister can light it up from beyond the arc. He's exciting to watch. Yeah.
I was seeing some of his play, some of the games of the CVL when they were going on, and Lister, he just said, "I'm open, I'm shooting," and he didn't hesitate.
Well, that's just having the green light.
Drop in.
It's a green light, and coach trusting him to give him the keys to the offense. And it's a team that spreads the floor well, not just up and down. That they can run a half-court set also.
And that's the same case with a lot of players here in the Rio Grande Valley. We've seen. I know Jerry Martinez. He's also has that green light charm where he can shoot from anywhere. I know Marco Coelho, too, from Ranzo Lopez. J.J. Salazar from Los Fresnos. That's another player who doesn't get a lot of talk, but Salazar is a junior. He also hit 1,000 career points a couple weeks ago, and he's just been turning around that program. And speaking about Los Fresnos, Marco Hinojosa's ball club, 17-5 on the season. That's a team who they struggled last year in the They had a good non-district, but when it came down to district play, they struggled because they were constantly in that 3-way tie with Harlingen South, Ranzo Hanna, and
to be a big school.
High.
I mean, you're from a small school. You're used to playing at smaller schools, but if you're at a 6A, 5A level and you're a player, you got to bring it every night because there's a team across the court from you that just as good. They put in just as much work as you, and it just comes down to what you've done in the off season. It's going to be tough for that district, especially the 6A this year.
Yeah, for 6A, 32-6 in particular, they were an 8-team district, but Harlingen South, they down at North due to the realignment last February, they worked their way down to 5A. Now you see that's going to be it's just Harlingen, Hanna, Rivera, Los Fresnos, and San Benito who are all in the mix. Oh, Westago as well. So, but Los Fresnos is the team to look out for. They're 17-5 in the season. They got a big win, and they're going to be tested on December 30th. They're going to be taking on Radio United South. That's a big test for them. And then Los Fresnos, that's just a team they've made the most of a good non-district, and they're 17-5. They finished off as the second place in the City Palms tournament. They captured the consolation championship at the Hidalgo Classic. They finished off in third at the San Perlita tournament. So that's just a team who they've got the pieces rolling, and then you have the offense too with J.J. Salazar, Gio Galvan, Luis Ramirez, Jude Barrera getting in the mix as well. That's just a very potent Falcon squad, and then when Marco Hinojosa at the helm, the pieces just start to flow together.
Yeah, it's a team that likes to press and bring a full court press to their game plan, and they like to force turnovers. And the question is with that team is can they be consistent on the offensive end in district play at scoring? And that'll be a big question for them moving forward.
And the other team we were talking about was Harvest Christian Academy. That team, a very good team, of course. The team who finished off in the Elite Eight in TAPS. They went all the way to the state tournament, to the Elite Eight. That was a very good run. And this year, they're continuing a week. Remember, we were looking at who they beat so far when we were at the BISD tournament. We were surprised.
Side, yeah.
We were surprised who they played against.
Well, the thing is with that team is some of those players starting for that Harvest Christian team is good enough to beat a defender off the dribble. And if it's a one-on-one matchup, good luck guarding them, because you're going to need help. And that's what teams starting to do. They're bringing help and forcing the ball out of those primary ball handler hands and making other players hit jumpers. And when a team does that, can the role players step up? And that'll be the question for them moving forward, I think.
Yeah, for Harvest Christian Academy, this is who they've lost to. They've lost to Wimberley, state-ranked team. They played them twice, and look at the difference. 57-55 was the first loss, and then they lost 55-47. Another loss came to Los Fresnos and Harlingen High. Those are those two back-to-back losses they took. But ever since then, they've been rolling. They knocked off Rio Hondo again. They beat Edinburgh North. They beat La
That
Feria.
Rio Hondo game was 8:30 in the morning, so I think both teams were a little tired and not all there and not all aware because it was so early of a tip-off. So
Not easy to play in the very morning. Of course, that was the Lyford Holiday Tournament. Santa Maria was one team that beat La Jolla.
Impressive win was that Edinburgh North win when they defeated them. That's a 6A and 5A, right? Edinburgh North?
6A.
Yeah,
31 6A. That's
okay,
it.
6A, yeah. That's right, yeah.
That's a Harvest Christian team who they know they're TAPS. They're TAPS 2A, but that's not going to stop us from going up against you again.
Well, if you're in TAPS, you're going to get a first-round opponent. It's probably going to be a Sweet 16 opponent and regular, you know. So right away, they're going to get probably a tough matchup to start that tournament off in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is some of their upcoming opponents. I know they have Macedonian Christian January 10th. They have Lifegate Christian January 14th. Juan Diego Academy, and then they have Macedonian again. That's how the district rolls out again. For them, it's TAPS. But if you were to put them in UIL, due to
if they're in UIL,
it'd be 2A.
Yeah.
But they're still a very good team. They hold their own. And then just kudos to Coach Jaime Gonzalez and company up there. And then the roster, too, you have Lexi Garcia, Jamie Gonzalez, the younger sister of Ashley Gonzalez, the freshman. Riley McClarity, also a player who gets in the mix. She can get some steals.
Like I said, some of those players are just really good at scoring, and it's tough to stop them one-on-one. Yeah, that's a well-rounded team.
And then Sam Munoz, her and her sister Jessica Munoz, who were running the show defensively last year. Now it's Sam Munoz, and she's been an excellent center. But then you look at Riley McClarity, Christina Quintero, who's also made some couple plays. But that show, again, it was Ashley Gonzalez, who's made the mix, and her younger sister as a freshman, timing, and Jamie Gonzalez. That's just a very... And the chemistry is good as a team already. But it makes it even better when you see that, hey, now the younger siblings are coming in, and that chemistry, that bond you share off the court gets transitioned on the court.
Yeah, well, it's something, if you're a sibling, especially a sibling, you're going to hear it at home on what you should do in the games, and it's just being taught. I mean, really talking basketball in a household 24/7, and that just shows some of those kids, you can tell they've been taught well at home how to play ball.
Another team that has Family Matters written up, the Port Isabel Tarpons.
Oh, yeah. They're a young team still, trying to get the pieces together and get clicking and finding their identity. At times I feel like they do spread the ball well and move it around well. And they're starting district season too, the Tarpons.
Tarpons on a 7-game win streak. They kicked off district play last night, 73-43. Talking about the Smith trio, twins, Christian, and Cleveland. Then you got the older junior, Jeffrey Smith. And that team is just... I was covering them against Mission Vets on Friday night, and that was a close-knit matchup. But then Jeffrey Smith had himself a 12-point second quarter, and that's what sealed the deal for them.
That's a Mission Vets team that's going to sub in a lot. So you're going to see fresh legs a lot, and that's kind of tough too if you're a small school dealing with a 6A that likes to sub, because you got someone on the bench just as good as a starter, and for them to be able to beat a Mission Vets team by that much, it's impressive, because they're just a 3A at the end of the day.
Yeah,
4A.
Coach Ramos' squad in Mission Vets. I remember I spoke to him earlier. I saw when I was getting the roster, Coach, you have 17 kids suiting up for varsity? He said, no, these kids they're suiting up. Out of these 17, they're all fighting for the 15 spots in the varsity. So 2 kids are not going to be on the varsity squad when the season starts. And we got to see who's in the varsity squad now. No, Keaton Zamora, he won player of the game 3 times at San Perlita tournament because he could shoot lights out. That's another player who can go and shoot from way out beyond the arc. I know they had Damian Adams, Tyler Davis, Mondo Galaviz, also Diego Polito.
Well, on the girls' side for the Tarpons, they had a 50-point performance
against Brownsville Jubilee, and then that was Lainey Mato led it with 27. Emily Barrage putting up 21 points.
Barrage had the 50. Yeah.
Rebecca Camacho, those 3, Rebecca Camacho, Lainey Mata, Emily Barrage, those 3 are the 3 of the returners from last year. And that Lady Tarpon team, I know they had Michaela Hancock, they had another player. Anyways, well, that's those 3 of the key returners from last year heading into this season for the Lady Tarpons. That's a team who's also going to have a hard time, or not hard time, but also going to have a good time in that district in 32 4A. It's a tough district, 4A hoops. But going back to the boys' side, the matchup everyone's talking about is going to be Raymondville Port Isabel.
That's always a big matchup, not just because of the rankings or whatever. It's a rivalry. It's like Lafayette, Santa Rosa, Harlingen South. It's a big game, and really 2 schools that on the court they don't really like each other. At the end of the day, they want to beat each other. But off the court, it's always respect. But on the court, there's some, I would say, adrenaline building for that game for both teams. And I think the first game's in Raymondville, so it should be Port Isabel coming into Raymondville, and it should be a good one.
Will be January 3rd on Tuesday. When we talk about that one, talk about the battles these 2 teams went through last year. Again, it was
Lafayette. A lot of people forget about Lafayette. Last year had young players, and this year some of those young players are starting to step up. And a Lion team to look out for in the future for that district.
Going back to that Port Isabel Raymondville rivalry, we've seen. I know you got to cover a couple of those last year. You saw the battles. It was
last year Raymondville beat PI at home by a buzzer beater, and then PI handled Raymondville at their home court. But it was Hidalgo upsetting Port Isabel to give Raymondville a district title, and if it's like last year, it should be a good matchup again this year.
That's another team who doesn't get as much credit as they should. Hidalgo, they can get in the mix. They could shake up the standings.
That's a team that likes to run a half-court set. They're gonna come in with a game plan, no matter what they have on the court. They're gonna come in with a game plan to stop this. Can you counter it? And last year they did a good job at defeating Port Isabel. They had a game plan and they executed it. And they won by, I think it was 3 points last season when they upsetted Port Isabel they played spoiler last year because Port Isabel was looking for a district title after they beat Raymondville, and the next week they fell to Hidalgo.
Yeah, the Tarpons, they actually pulled. They came into that season last year as a district champs, and it was that 43-33 loss to Hidalgo that kind of shook up the standings.
See if they update the scores. Yeah, they didn't update it, but no. That just tells me, hey, Hidalgo came into the game with a game plan, and they wanted to stop something, and they stopped it. Holding that Tarpon team last year to 33 points is.
And that Tarpon team last year was no easy team to beat. You had a Gilbert Medina, Joey Rigo, Danny Zamaron, Caden Martinez, too.
Martinez was on that team that went to regionals. Or was it the 3rd round? I don't think they made regionals. They made the 3rd round, and then, yeah. So that team that was really good in 2020. He was a 3 guard that year, and that's the thing. Like he moved to a 5 his senior year, and like just because he's at a 5 doesn't mean he forgot how to dribble. So for a lot of 5 players playing the 5, it's tough to guard a player like that can handle the ball like that. Because if you're at the 5, you're not used to guarding a guard, So it was definitely different to guard Port Isabel last year, with him at the 5.
And going back to that Port Isabel team, that was a Tarpon squad who would come into this season. They were fresh off that regional tournament appearance. They beat Robstown, they beat YMLA San Antonio, Crystal City, and they lost to Bernie 68-55. Again, it was a lot of adjustment for Martinez moving in that 5 spot. Now this year, the show is with the Smith trio.
It's more of a
Christian Jeffrey.
It's more of a guard set, guards handling the ball, playing outside the arc, and they do look to go inside out, look to post, but they don't have the same, they don't have Martinez down there at the 5. So, but they've done a good job at replacing him and moving forward.
But if you see that Tarpon starting 5, it's starting to gel together. I know we saw it was the starting 5 I saw against Mission Vets. It was Jeffrey Smith, Cleveland Smith, Christian Smith. Then you had Rudy Barrera, QB quarterback playing in at the 4th spot, and then you had Sean Moore at center for the Tarpons. And Sean Moore and Rudy Barrera, they combined for 20 points when it was all said and done in that win against Mission Vets Memorial. So that's a Tarpon team who, yeah, they lost district last year. They missed district last year, but this is a team who, hey, we're back. We want this district title again. We want to bring another banner back to Port Isabel. But
it's definitely a district title is definitely something they can accomplish this year with that bunch. Definitely. Hidalgo and Raymondville is going to try to knock them off.
LaFerre too.
Also LaFedia. But a lot of people do forget about LaFedia on how they're really flying under the radar this year. But it's a very good team. They have, again, young team, but some of those kids that played last year were freshmen and sophomores. And if you're a freshman and sophomore, the varsity level, it's a different game. It's a different speed from middle school, so it's some adjusting.
Yeah, it's a Lions squad last year who had a couple of rebuilding phases. They lost some key pieces heading into that 2021-2022 season. This year, they're still in a rebuilding phase, but again, that's a team that
I would say their experience this year. They're not rebuilding. They have
they were rebuilding.
They have the team that could make some noise in district play. Definitely this year for them.
You look ahead too, going back to the 6As. Harlingen South in the 5A, Harlingen High in the 6A. That's a team who was struggling early on, but figure they can get the pieces.
You look
together.
at Harlingen; they have Rendon at the 5 still there, and that's a player that can give them the ability to play inside out. And if you double team Rendon, he can kick out. But I think Harlingen will be fine this year, despite the loss they had last game.
Harlingen knows that 72-48 loss right at South, but again, they have a lot of weapons you can throw at them. And they have Edinburgh North coming up. They have Mission, and they have that big test against Corpus Christi Miller January 3rd, and that's going to be your final. Hey, this is what we need. Your final test against Miller.
A good measuring stick where you're at. When Redondo played Santa Rosa, Redondo used that as a measuring stick. Like, hey, this is where we're at. And Harlingen, they know what they're going to get out of Miller, a good team. It'd be an exciting matchup up there in Corpus.
Yeah, that matchup against Miller again. It's a 3-game road trip. They'll take on Edinburgh North on the road, and then they go to Mission and the Miller. But again, going back to that measuring stick, you're going to find out who we are, what our team is, and then where we are and what we need to do.
After that Miller game, it's your rival coming up in San Benito, and San Benito always wants to beat Harlingen, basketball or football.
San Benito, and then they have Rivera. That's another Rivera team that they've had some struggles. Alec Guzman, he's back in the mix, and he missed a couple games because he was playing in the Blue-Gray All-American Bowl up in Dallas. That's a big honor for him. Congrats to Alec Guzman. But he's also a efficient shooter. He could shoot lights out from well out in the arc, and then you have San Benito, a team also.
Some of these games, it's going to come down to defense and which team can get out on shooters. And that district, 6A district, 32-6A, I can't wait for it to start. You don't get a night off in that district.
And Los Fresnos, too, they're also going to be opponents to look out for. Again, the projected seedings I was hearing about earlier, it's going to be Los Fresnos. Not the seedings, but teams projected to go into postseason. Los Fresnos, Harlingen, San Benito, and Westago. But you can't count out Brownsville Hanna, though. That Hanna Golden Eagles squad who sneaked into the playoffs last year for Lucio's ball club. And this year, they're reloaded, folks. And
they're looking solid. They're moving the ball around, and guards are playing like senior, junior, upperclassmen that should play like. They're strong with the ball, and on the rip-throughs, they're strong on double teams, and that's something new for that Hanna team. They're just not. They're waiting for a district title this year, and I feel like this year they have a good chance of doing that. Hanna, definitely.
They have a lot of good pieces. They have Kevin Flores, Ricardo Roman coming in, and you also have some new stars and Jordan Matamotos, Beto Galarza, and the big man Manrique Cantu in the center. This is a Hanna Golden Eagles squad who you can definitely look out for and say, hey,
well, I feel like this year the districts, it's up for the grabs. Westaco's always a good team, but I feel like it's even. There's no real top team this year in that district, and I feel like Hanna can be a team that, hey, district title can be ours if we do what we're supposed to.
Pretty much you're here. Here's the district title. Come and get it. Who's going to go for it?
It's up for grabs, and I feel like it's an even district this year. It's anyone's district at the end of the day.
I know. I'm really excited to see how that 32-6 is going to unfold, especially with Harlingen South and down north now in the 5A level. But you talk about it's going to be a 16-32 6A, 10 games, and again, come and get it. Who's going to be the district titles? Any final thoughts, Rudy?
just excited for the upcoming season and Christmas break coming up. But after Christmas break, I'm ready to go for basketball season.
Again, folks, a couple games coming your way tomorrow. Then, of course, we'll have the West Oso tournament, and we'll also believe we'll have the H&M King Classic, also from Kingsville. Those are pretty much our final tournaments before we begin district play for the majority of teams. And we're going to, I know 6A and 5A and 4A are already in district, 3A as well. I know 1A is set to be in district after the holiday break. 6A will also be in district after the holiday break. And a couple matchups coming up tomorrow in between the holidays, and then we'll look ahead to district play. And that's going to wrap things up here. Any other final thoughts, Rudy? Well, that's going to do it for us here from Luke Freya Motors and Cadillac Buick GMC. Again, Luke Freya Motors looking for a brand new vehicle or pre-owned vehicle, come on down to Freya Motors. Mr. Joe Bowling, Freddie Zumriba Jr., and everyone else at Real Sports Live. This is Ruben Rodriguez saying so long, goodbye, happy holidays. This is Real Sports Live.